Hey there, Yankees fans. I hope you're all having an amazing day. For those of you who haven't subscribed yet and are passionate about the Yankees, now might be the perfect time to consider hitting that subscribe button. Let's dive into the most recent game, where the Yankees took a tough loss to the Diamondbacks with a score of 7-5. This defeat has sparked a lot of reactions, especially regarding the decisions made by the manager about the bullpen. Many fans are particularly upset about the choice not to bring in a certain pitcher during the eighth inning, especially when there was an opportunity to secure those final 4 outs. The situation has left many questioning the manager's bullpen strategy, and frankly, I can understand why. Personally, I've never thought bullpen management was one of the manager's strong suits, but I'd like to take a moment to offer a little support and share my perspective. The Yankees didn't start the season with 3 losses and no wins. They actually kicked things off with 3 straight victories. Yes, I know one player was absent due to paternity leave, but that shouldn't have been the reason not to call on the pitcher in question for a 4-out save opportunity. Bringing him in at that point would have made sense, and I don't think the justification for not using him holds up. He could have easily handled those 4 outs, no doubt about it. The manager's reasoning for leaving another player in the game was that it was still early in the season, meaning it was essential to see what that player could bring to the table. And to be honest, I get it. The season is just beginning, and it makes sense to evaluate the player's capabilities early on. After all, last season, that particular player faced some challenges with the Yankees, and now would be the perfect time to see if he could rise above those struggles. At the time, the Yankees were leading the game, but that doesn't take away from the fact that this was a great opportunity to test a player's resilience and skill. After all, it was still only April, and the team was sitting comfortably at 3-0. There's no harm in seeing how a player handles pressure in the early games of the season. Now, I'm not necessarily blaming the manager for keeping that player in the game. I think it's important to give young talent a chance to prove themselves, and if that player could have gotten through that inning, the Yankees might have left it with a lead of 4-2, or rather 4-3. But we all know what happened next. That grand slam shifted the game, and the score moved to 7-4. The bottom line here is that while the choice to leave that player in the game may have seemed questionable at the time, I can't blame the manager for trying to evaluate a young player's abilities. There are moments during a game when players hit home runs, and while I understand the frustration when a decision doesn't go as planned, I don't think the blame should be placed solely on the manager's shoulders. Yes, the Yankees lost, but it's important to look at the bigger picture. The team started the season with 3 wins and 0 losses, which is a solid start. Even if they end up losing the series, a 4-2 record to start the season would still be a strong foundation for the months ahead. I really don't think the bullpen decisions should be the focal point of the criticism. It seemed like the manager was trying to give a young pitcher a chance to prove himself, which is essential in a long season. This was just the 4th game of the season, and it's reasonable to try different strategies and give players opportunities to show what they've got. I don't think anyone expected perfection right off the bat, and it's not the end of the world. The reliever didn't perform as well as hoped, but the manager gave the young pitcher a shot to close things out. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to get the job done, but I still don't think that's something to criticize the manager for. This is the beginning of the season, and these early decisions are all part of figuring out what works and what doesn't. Even with the loss, there were some positive moments to take away from the game. One player had an incredible performance, going 2 for 3 with a home run and a single. He showed impressive base running as well, and I have to highlight this moment. At one point, he was on second base with another runner on third. The batter hit a ground ball to the fielder, who attempted to flip the ball to the pitcher. But the throw sailed over the pitcher's head, and I thought to myself, will the runner on second score? Sure enough, the camera caught the runner crossing home plate just in time. What I really admired about that moment was the player's hustle. He didn't hesitate for a second. He kept running hard, even with 2 outs. That's the essence of intelligent base running, maintaining momentum and staying sharp, even when you're in a seemingly routine situation. There's no room for laziness in those moments, and that player showed exactly what it means to give your all. He didn't slow down. He kept pushing through, and that's the kind of effort that often goes unnoticed but is so crucial to a team's success. It's all about that relentless drive and determination. To me, that's a trait that is incredibly important, especially for a young player trying to make a mark. Now, I won't take up too much more of your time, but I have to point out that there was absolutely no laziness in that moment. The player wasn't idle at all. He kept running hard through the play. It's those small details, those little moments of hustle, that often go under the radar. But they matter. They show heart, they show commitment, and they make a difference in the game. Those types of moments can be the difference between winning and losing, and they speak volumes about a player's character. Now, this is where I start to take issue with the manager's decisions. I get that the team was leading, and at that point, they were ahead by 4-2. But why did the manager pull a player who had been performing exceptionally well? The player had been 2 for 3, including a home run, and was really making a difference in left field. Still, the manager chose to remove him from a game. The decision didn't make sense to me, especially when the team was ahead by just 2 runs. This player was having a fantastic game, and the manager decided to take him out in the 7th inning, even though it was clear that his confidence was high. Why not let him continue until the 8th or 9th inning? It felt like a premature decision, and in the end, the player who came in didn't have the same impact. He struck out in the 9th inning when his spot came up again, and that left me wondering why the manager didn't just stick with the player who had been performing so well. The decision to pull him out seemed rushed and unnecessary. When a player is hot, when he's hitting the ball well and playing great defense, you have to give him the opportunity to keep contributing. The manager's move didn't seem to take that into account. I'm not upset with the bullpen decisions overall, but this specific choice about the player in question left me frustrated. He was having a strong game, and it felt like the manager missed an opportunity to let him shine. Sometimes, in baseball, it's the little things that make all the difference. That player deserved to stay in the game and keep going with the momentum he had. It's decisions like these that can sometimes make you question a manager's judgment. Looking at the overall performance of the team, it's clear that there were several moments that stood out, some positive, others not so much. As the game unfolded, another pitcher came in, and although his performance wasn't flawless, he did manage to deliver a solid outing. His control was a bit off, as he walked 4 batters, which obviously raised some concerns. However, the fact that he only gave up 2 earned runs during his time on the mound shows that he was able to limit the damage and keep the team in the game. He completed 5 innings, allowing just 1 hit and registering 4 strikeouts. For a young pitcher in a starting role, this was certainly an acceptable performance. And given that it's early in the season, it's important to remember that there's still time to work on those areas of improvement, like cutting down on walks. His outing wasn't perfect, but it was promising, and it's good to see him settling into the role. Another pitcher had a standout performance later in the game, coming in during the later innings and tossing 2 scoreless frames. His splitter was particularly sharp, and that pitch was really a game-changer for him. If you've watched him pitch before, you'd know that his splitter has always been a key part of his arsenal, and it was great to see him using it effectively once again. After a difficult spring training, it was nice to see him bounce back with such a solid performance. The relief pitching wasn't without its struggles, but for the most part, it did its job, keeping the game within reach despite the late-game issues. It's another case of the manager giving his players opportunities to prove themselves, which is vital for development. But it's clear that there's still room for improvement in terms of consistency. Now, let's talk about the final inning, where everything seemed to fall apart. After a home run with 2 outs, the score shifted dramatically. The team was no longer in control, and it felt like the game was slipping away. At that point, the manager made another decision that raised some eyebrows. He brought in a pinch hitter to try and spark something in the final moments of the game. Unfortunately, the pinch hitter was quickly retired after hitting a fly ball to center field. The inning ended, and with it, the game. It was a disappointing finish, especially after the Yankees had fought so hard to stay in the game. But that's baseball, isn't it? One moment, things are looking promising, and the next, they can take a drastic turn. I do want to point out that while there were certainly moments where the manager's decisions didn't pan out, it's important to remember that this is just the 4th game of the season. There's plenty of time to work out the kinks and find what strategies are going to be the most effective. The manager is still figuring out the best way to utilize his players, especially in high-pressure situations. The bullpen choices may not have been perfect, but I can understand the logic behind them. There's a desire to evaluate young talent and see how they handle different scenarios, even if it means risking a few losses along the way. It's about finding the right balance and figuring out who can step up when it matters most. Despite the loss, there were definitely some things to take away from the game. The positive performances, like the 2-for-3 outing from the player earlier in the game, showed that the team still has plenty of talent. There are young players stepping up and proving that they can handle the pressure of Major League Baseball. That's something that can't be overlooked. Even when the team loses, these individual moments of greatness remind us that there's a lot of potential in the roster. It's easy to focus on the negatives after a tough loss, but we have to remember that there are still a lot of games left to play. There's still time to work out the kinks and figure out how to put everything together. The next few games will be crucial in determining how the Yankees bounce back from this defeat. It's important for the manager to learn from this experience and make adjustments where necessary. The bullpen, in particular, will need to tighten up, but that's something that can be worked on over the course of the season. The key is not to overreact to one loss or to let the frustration of a single game cloud the bigger picture. The Yankees are still in a good spot, and even though they didn't win this particular game, the season is far from over. There's a lot to be excited about when you look at the overall direction of the team. While the bullpen decisions may have left some fans scratching their heads, the team has shown resilience, and there are signs that the younger players are ready to step up when called upon. It's those players that will ultimately help define the team's future, and while there will be bumps along the way, it's important to give them the opportunity to grow and develop. The Yankees aren't going to win every game, but if they continue to play hard, focus on improving, and stay committed to their development, they'll be in a strong position as the season progresses. In the end, this game was just another step in the journey. Sure, the Yankees lost, and sure, there are things to work on, but there were also positive signs that can't be ignored. The game may not have ended the way we wanted, but it didn't erase the fact that the team started the season with 3 wins. That is a solid foundation, and even with the loss, the Yankees are still very much in the hunt. The bullpen decisions, the pinch hitter substitution, and the choices that didn't quite work out all have to be taken in stride. It's early in the season, and there's a lot of time left to see how things unfold. Looking ahead, I'm excited to see how the team bounces back from this tough loss. There are plenty of games left, and there are still opportunities to adjust and improve. The talent is there, and as the season progresses, the team will find its rhythm. The early part of the season is about experimentation and finding out what works. Yes, the Yankees lost, but they're still in a strong position to do well in the long run. The key now is to stay focused, work on the areas that need improvement, and continue to push forward with determination. The season is just beginning, and there's still plenty of baseball to be played. But before we continue, please remember to join our channel and give this video a like. Your support allows us to keep bringing you the latest news about the New York Yankees. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments. In a stunning twist that could reshape the landscape of Major League Baseball, the New York Yankees are reportedly targeting one of the game's most dynamic third basemen, Alex Bregman. The Houston Astros superstar is fresh off a standout 2024 season, and with his free agency now in play, all eyes are on the Yankees as they look to bolster their roster. Could Bregman, a 2-time World Series champion and perennial all-star, be the key to New York's next championship run? Bregman's resume speaks for itself. Over his illustrious career, the 30-year-old has become a fixture in the Astros' success story. His accolades include multiple postseason records for a third baseman, MVP honors at the 2018 All-Star Game, and a career punctuated by game-changing moments. From leading the AL in doubles in 2018 to hitting a career-high number of grand slams, his bat is as dangerous as ever. His consistent performance in the field, leading all AL third basemen in multiple categories, solidifies his reputation as one of the most well-rounded players in the league. The Yankees, who have been in a rebuilding phase, are reportedly keen on bringing Bregman's veteran presence and unmatched postseason experience to the Bronx. With their eyes on regaining dominance in the American League, the acquisition of Bregman would represent more than just a power bat. It would signal their intent to contend for a World Series immediately. His ability to anchor the lineup and contribute defensively makes him a prime target as New York looks to strengthen a roster still reeling from recent disappointments. Bregman's 2024 season showed he hasn't lost a step, batting .260 with 26 home runs and a .453 slugging percentage. He remains one of the most feared hitters in the game. His defensive metrics only further elevate his value as he continues to shine with his Gold Glove-winning play at third base. His ability to stay healthy and maintain elite performance in the postseason, where he holds several all-time records, positions him as a sought-after free agent who could instantly provide the Yankees with the star power they desperately need. As the Yankees consider their future and the prospect of signing Bregman, one thing is certain. New York's pursuit of the 30-year-old is more than just a passing interest. It's a bold statement that they are ready to return to their winning ways. And with a player of Bregman's caliber, they may just have found the piece that completes their championship puzzle. The coming weeks will tell if the Yankees can secure the services of one of MLB's brightest stars, but the stakes have never been higher. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the New York Yankees, please subscribe to our channel and give us a like. We always appreciate your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.